Welcome, guys. Come on in, come on in, come on in. Get situated. I see you guys coming in. Feel free to leave any comments that you have right now, guys, because we're about to get started. I would like to see where you guys are from. Where are you guys from? Put that in the chat if you can. Come on in, come on in, come on in, come on in. Yes. Get situated as we get ready to go into some very critical and crucial information that can transform not only your relationship, but also your life. So come on in, come on in, come on in, come on in. Get situated. All right, guys, let's get situated. All right. I see people are coming in still. Give us another second or two before we really would get going. Give everyone the opportunity to come on in. Here we go. All right, guys, I would like to formally welcome you from a shaky to a solid relationship. So if you're here, I know that you're trying to do one or two things. You're either trying to make a shaky relationship solid, or you're trying to make a solid relationship even more solid. Either way, welcome, guys. You're in the right place. We have some valuable information that we're happy and excited to share with you today. Now, I want to share with you one of those things that really got us into this trajectory of our lives, and that is from a rainy day to a rainy relationship as it pertains to my wife and I. Mondays, when we first started dating and we got very serious in our relationship, I don't know what it was, but every single Monday was their first. So let's give you some context here. Now, Monday was a day that we both have off that we look forward to spend the most quality time together. Other than Monday, we're passing by each other, taking care of stuff personally and professionally, just trying to get ahead in life, if you know what I mean. Just being busy. But Mondays are the days that we both have off, and any plan that we had in order for us to actually come together and do something together was always on a Monday. And for us, we look forward to actually spending time together on Monday. But here is one of the things that always happen on this Monday. We wake up early in the morning, get ready to spend time together, and out of nowhere, we start to bicker about little things here and there. And sometimes it escalates and turns into a blowout or argument. And then by the time we simmer down, it's about 1 o'clock. And what typically happens is that because I'm annoyed that we spend the first half of the day arguing, I'm now in a negative space for the fact that we haven't started to have fun. And that creates another perpetual cycle of just being in just a crappy mood. And outside looked the same because outside was always cloudy and rainy. So those Mondays, we call it rainy Mondays. It's rainy in our relationship and rainy outside. So we always had these Mondays, and one day we sat down and we started to talk about it. Like, listen, this can't keep going on. I mean, we love each other. We want to spend time together. So why are we bickering over and over again about most of the time petty things that we don't care that much about? And what we realized was we're taking all the stress and all the things that we have been dealing with throughout the entire week, and because we get the opportunity to exhale on Mondays, we're now putting all this trash in our quality time. And what we're seeing is just a reaction from the strain and the stress of the week. And we went out, we did some research, we got some coaches, we actually go into some programs and did some studies in order to get as much information as we could in order to help our relationship. And guess what happens? Our Mondays start to become not from the worst day of the week to the best day of our week. And we start to increase that quality into every other day. And before we know it, we start to share that principle or those principles with other individuals as well. And now 10 years later, 10 years later, we're sitting here on a live after helping hundreds and hundreds of couples, well over 1,000, and came to some breakthrough information and had some breakthrough moments with other people's relationships in order to share this with you and much more. So I don't know if you know what we felt like to have a rainy day and a rainy relationship like our Mondays were. But if you can relate to it, I'm here to tell you that you're in the right place. We have some more solid information that can help you work through that situation so you don't have to suffer as long as we did in that same spot. So many of us have always been told that the honeymoon stage is only a stage or a phase in the beginning of a relationship. but I want to let you know that you can really get your honeymoon stage back. All those attributes that really, really solidify the relationship, that make the relationship as valuable as it is. And when you reminisce about it, you're sitting there thinking about the fact that, man, I wish I can go back to those days or have them all the time. But the truth is, we have the benefit and the privilege to maintain the attributes and the characteristics of the honeymoon stage throughout the entirety of the relationship. Where it's not a stage, it can really be a state of the relationship. But before we go right into that, let's go into a few things real quick. I would like to formally welcome you to the webinar From a Shaky to a Solid Relationship. And if you haven't known yet, my name is Andre Thompson. I've been a pastor and a minister for, well, about 10 years. I would say over, but just to keep it really simple, I've been a minister and a pastor for 10 years. And most importantly, that relates to you. I've been a relationship expert for 10 years as well. Spent a lot of time with a lot of couples. And though even as a pastor, I've dealt with other issues, one of the areas that I really specialize in and I look forward to is when it comes to relationship, premarital and marital relationships, because they both have a lot of similarities and they both have a dissimilar position in the lives of each individual in that relationship as well. Because relationships are one of those things that are meant to build and not break you, meant to carry through another level in your life. So we talk more about that later, but my name is Andre Thompson. I've been a pastor for well over 10 years successfully, and also a relationship expert for over 10 years as well. Let me introduce you to a little bit more about myself when it comes to my family. Now to the top left, you look at that photo, you're looking at my beautiful wife with our two adorable puppies. Now my beautiful wife is Rose Thompson. She's actually a communication expert, and she focuses in on self-love because she does believe that before you can show value to the world, you have to show value to yourself. And that is now something that now exudes through the pores and everything you do. When you take care of yourself correctly in a healthy manner, you're able to take care of everything else you have to take care of that you're connected to outwardly. So she's a communication expert as well, which is a great benefit for me. But most importantly, one of the biggest things that I appreciate about her is that she chose me to be her husband. And I'm so grateful that she's my wife. We have a great relationship, not boasting, not bragging, guys. I want to let you know that the dream can come true. For me, it did. And it's one of those things I didn't plan for it. It was in front of my face and I could not let it go. And she felt the same way. And we have the privilege of having this great relationship. And over the course of the years of what we have versus what I've seen other people have had, we realize that we have a formula and a system that works so well in comparison. And it led us to want to share it with everyone else. But that is my beautiful wife, Rose Thompson. We've been together for well over 14 years, been happily married for about 10 years now. So a little bit over 9 years, going into the 10th year. And she is petting our gorgeous puppies. Well, we have Bentley, who we had for 9 years. And we have Bella, who we've had for about 3 years, I believe. And now the second photo that is towards my right is the picture of myself, my beautiful wife, and our adorable and very sophisticated daughter, Tatiana. And she is so unique because she has taught us about love and relationship on so many different levels, about how to navigate our relationship, even when we have someone that we cherish and we're taking care of so much that we both are putting all of our time, energy, and money into. And to watch her go through from being young and adorable and sweet to the teenager stage, and you know that can be a little challenging, especially when she gets to transition into a young woman. And to see her now as a young adult, as she is 19 years old, it's definitely an honor for me and an honor for my wife. We talk about it all the time. And we have even talked about and discussed that she's in a healthy, successful relationship right now. And while she is about 19, being together now in a relationship for about a year and a half, we've seen a lot of the qualities that we have expressed and shown in front of her indirectly. And some, I won't let her know, some of the qualities that we have spoke to her about and she pretended like she wasn't even listening, that she's utilizing in our relationship. And in her relationship, being a young relationship, has been extraordinarily successful. And they're really happy, even facing normal challenges that they have being so young. So I'm convinced that it works for all ages, group, sex, and levels of relationships. Judging our relationships, the couples that we have helped over the course of the years, and even our daughter, who we weren't even showing anything other than just being ourselves around, to see how it helped those individuals in their relationship just have such a great time, including our daughter again, and the couples who've been around, and even ourselves. And we trust that you can have the same experience as well. So let's go right into some of the points for discussion today, because I know that you're here to get some very solid information. Now, our first point of discussion is about investment return of marriage. Now, I know for a fact that we're not here to talk about marriage directly, but I do believe that in our culture today, we don't really talk about the benefits of marriage overall, which is a setback for relationships, because marriage is that pivotal point that I believe every couple try to get to, even the couples that don't believe in marriage. Because I know one may say, well, you're a pastor, so you're going to pitch marriage, but we don't need to have a marriage by the books to have a great relationship. But the truth of the matter is, that's a discussion for another time. But a good marriage is a great reflection of a great relationship. If you can be successful in a marriage, that means that you had to be successful in the relationship that you both have together as a couple in order to cultivate that. And it's a precipice of what we're trying to aim for when it comes to the quality now of relationships. So it's important to understand that we want to look at the return investments on marriage, and that also trickles into relationships. Now, the points that are really going to send it home for you guys is that we're going to focus on relationship maintenance, as you can see on the screen. And we have 5 areas you're going to really focus on today in order to give you everything you need in order to take your relationship from being shaky in order for it to be solid. And that is the first part we're going to focus on is affection and reaction. The second part, effective and constructive communication. The third part is attraction. And then the fourth part now is love language switch. And the fifth part is evaluation staycation. So we're going to dive right into that. So let's jump right into a few things real quick. As you're going to start off with, our mission today is to reignite the flame of your passion for each other. Now, with a greater understanding of relationships, a greater knowledge of yourself and your partner, and tools for great relationship building. So those are really what we're trying to accomplish today when it comes to you leaving today. We want you to be in a better position with all 3 of these areas within your relationship and also within yourselves. Now, let's ask this question, because I know that I've been there. I'm pretty sure that you have been there. That's why you're here. And it says, is it actually possible to be happy, feeling passionate, excited, and loved in your relationship without having to choose between not being fulfilled or sacrificing your needs? And I know many of us who care about our relationship, especially if you're here because I know you care, have asked that question. Is it really possible, or do I need to sacrifice all my needs in order to have the relationship that fulfills what I'm envisioning to be healthy? Or do I have to now sacrifice the relationship in order to fulfill the needs that I want? Now, I know that we have tried our communication, we have tried date nights, we have tried vacations, we have tried even therapy for many of us, and nothing has quite worked for you currently. And I say we because I, myself, and my wife has tried many of these things. And we've tried communication over and over again, but communication by itself does not get the job done, because with communication, you need understanding and not just skill set of communication. We've tried date nights, and we all know that if you don't communicate or you have unsettled issues on date nights, it just make the date nights awkward and sometimes have those issues spur into it. We've tried vacations where we're like, okay, let's get away. We want to spend time together. And those quality time became now very bickering moments in the midst of it that sabotages it here and there, which makes us even more frustrated because in our head we have an expectation, but the experience is not reflecting that. And then we have even went to therapy. And for some of us, we have had some success, but not what we're looking for. For others of us, we have had opportunities that seems hopeful, but it's not quite coming through, and we don't quite have the relationship we're looking for. I want to let you know that We know what you feel like when you have tried these things and now you're coming to a point where you're like, I'm desperate because either this relationship is not right and it's not working, even though I don't want to end it, I might want to end it, unfortunately. Or you're at the point where you're just frustrated because you've tried so much and you feel as if nothing is quite landing. I want you to know that we have some information for you that will help you not only be more informed, but develop the skill set, the perspective as well, and every other element that really ties them together in order to improve your relationship. And also stay to the end of this webinar, because not only does it has a very valuable content that we are going to share with you every step of the way, but at the end, we have a great opportunity that we want to share with you that will definitely increase the level of your relationship and increase the value in that relationship with the asset we're going to share with you at the end of this webinar. So don't miss it. It's going to be a great one, and I don't think that is something that you want to pass up on if you have the opportunity to get it today. So it is a great piece of information, a great opportunity and access that we're giving to you at the end of this webinar. But let's jump into now some more deep and valuable content. Let me adjust my computer for a second, guys. This way I can see a few things. I know with you won't see the effects, but for me it's a world of a difference. Now, you're about to be a wealthy person. Now we'll talk about people who are married. Now, if you're in a relationship, you're still a wealthy person as well, because some of these assets, some of these attributes, and these, I'll say, some of these return on investments also apply to you as well. So you are about to be a wealthy person. Marriage is one of a person's greatest investments of their time, energy, and resources. Isn't that a shocking discovery? But it is true. You and I both know already when it comes to the investment, it is one of the greatest investments, if not the greatest investment of our time, our energy, and also our resources. But let's get into why that is true. So let's talk about marriages and the return on investment. Now, one, married household have twice the talent, twice the time, and twice the productivity over time. As spouses specialize in areas of the household, each person actually produces more in their area than singles who have to do it all themselves combined. So because two is better than one, marriage have the benefit of two. And also if you're in a relationship, it also give you that benefit because teamwork makes the dream work. So if you guys learn to work well to each other, where you guys are not competing against each other, but are complementing each other and being compatible, then what happens is that you guys are able to tackle way more things at a much faster rate using far less energy than someone who's doing it by themselves. That is a return on investment because that applies to every area of your life and not just one particular area. Let's look at some more benefits when it comes to the return of investment on marriages. Two, married people not only make more money overall, but they also manage money better and build more wealth together than either would alone. At identical income levels, for example, married people are less likely to report economic hardship or trouble paying basic bills. So, poverty protection. So I want you to know that at the same income level, the same exposure to opportunities, that married households actually manage your finances far better over the course of the same time with the same opportunities. So that is another asset as well. Let's get into now number 3. Cohabitating men are 4 times more likely to cheat than married men. Can you believe that? If you can't believe that, that is proven information. Do some Google search and break down the facts. I'm guarantee you, if you go to some credible websites, they will let you know that cohabitating men are 4 times more likely to cheat than married men, and cohabitating women are 8 times more likely to cheat than married women would. And I want you to know that emotional cheating is cheating as well. It's not just physical. Now, number 4, just 1 out of 10 cohabitating couples are still cohabitating after 5 years. Only 1 out of 10 is still together. So after 5 years, just in a relationship together without the solid commitment of saying that we're making the decision to get married, it is proven, though, according to the stats, that only 1 out of 10 lasts more than 5 years. Now, if you're still together, congratulations. We're proud of you. Keep going forward. And consider marriage. If you want more information about marriage, if it's right for you and how it can be right for you, then please set up a one-on-one with us, and we'll be happy to sit down with you and go over in detail the benefits of marriage and the meaning of marriage, not only to you when it comes to your history and perspective, but to a bigger picture as well. Now, number 4. Actually, we just went to number 4. Let's continue. 80% of couples marrying for the first time are still married 5 years later. So 80% of couples who are married last more than 5 years. So in the beginning stages, the first 5 years, there's a big benchmark between cohabitating couples and married couples in terms of success. Let's jump into some more valuable information. Now, let's talk about marriage return on investment number 5. Married men and women are less depressed, less anxious, and less physically distressed than single, divorced, or widowed individuals. By contrast, getting divorced lowers both men's and women's mental health, increasing depression and hostility, and lowering self-esteem as well as their sense of personal purpose in life. So that is something to take note of. That is one of those things that your mental and physical health is it is an investment where it returns a greater return when it comes to the elements that we have discussed previously. But when it comes to your physical and mental health, as well as psychological health overall, that is actually, you're in a better position if you have a healthy marriage to actually have a healthier life physically and psychologically, which trickles into emotional health as well. So that is something to really consider. Let's jump into number 6. Now, number 6, children now. Children raised with happily married parents are more likely to attend college, are physically and emotionally healthier, are less likely to be physically or sexually abused, are less likely to use drugs or alcohol, and to commit delinquent behaviors, have a decrease in risk of divorcing themselves when they are get married, are less likely to become pregnant or impregnate someone as a teenager, and are less likely to be raised in poverty. I'm gonna say poverty. What is that? Poverty. So one of the things is that it actually is a great benefit for the housing for your children. Not only the home that you put your children in and the neighborhood that you grow your children in, but to be able to be in a successful relationship. Hence, marriage is actually another element for the well-being and the most potential for your children to be successful than anything else. So it is important to understand that and understand the value when it comes to that asset as well. Let's jump into now number 7. Number 7, married people are also the most likely to report a highly satisfying sex life. Now, chicken, wow. Wives, for example, are twice as likely as divorced and never married women to have a sex life that is healthy and is extremely satisfying emotionally. So not only on the health scale, but on the physical, intimate scale, that is proven that married people have a better sex life than single people. So if you're in a relationship, you're closer to being married than you are single. And we're here, that means that you're closer, let me say it again, to be married than being on the single scale. So these benefits are part of the reason why you're here, to cultivate your relationship to the fullest magnitude. So now when it comes to intimacy, now stats have shown that married couples are way happier than single individuals overall. Now, number 8, contrary to popular belief, for men, having a wife beats shacking up by a wide margin. 50% of husbands say sex with their partner is extremely satisfying physically, compared with only 39% of cohabitating men. So I guess without the leap of commitment there, that what happens is the sexual encounters, or the sexual encounters, but the sexual life of cohabitating couples are not as great as married couples overall. And if you're single, you're not even close in comparison to the spectrum. So at the end of the day, when it comes to intimacy, married life is where it's at. Alright, so let's now jump into relationships. It's important for us to go right into relationships, because I know that all of us are here, premarital and marital couples, this is the information that we are all waiting to partake of. Now, let's go right into it. Now, relationship is like a vehicle, or relationships is like a vehicle. Now, what do I mean? It's meant to take you places faster, smoother, and with less efforts. So it's important because a lot of us know the importance of proficiency. Now, one of the things that we don't really talk about in our society as often, we talk about it in business relationships, but not personal relationships. But the truth of the matter is, when it comes to our relationship, our intimate, personable relationships, it is meant to take us places faster, smoother, and with less efforts. So it is about proficiency, and it increases the level and the value of our proficiency in our lives when we have a successful relationships. So now, when is the last time someone said, vehicles don't work, so I'm walking? When is the last time? Let me ask you that question. Take a moment, think about it. When was the last time someone said, vehicles don't work, so I'm just walking? I'm not buying any vehicles. I'm not getting into any vehicles because vehicles break down. I have to take them to the mechanic, and not to mention putting gas in the vehicles. It does not work, so I'm just going to walk everywhere. It doesn't happen, does it? So the truth of the matter is, we got to take a moment and think about this for a second. In life, we don't say that even though vehicles are work. You and I both know that in order to obtain a vehicle, it requires normally a pretty hefty cost if you get a decent vehicle. And not only that, you have to get the vehicle registered, you have to get the title, you have to get it insured, you have to get the maintenance taken care of that vehicle. And there's times when you have the vehicle and the vehicle needs to be fixed. But because we understand the importance of the vehicle, it changes what we view. So let's look at this. The phrase is my vehicle. The phrase right here. The phrase is, my vehicle isn't working. That is a phrase we use, right? My car needs to be fixed. But cars work when they are mechanically sound and well taken care of. Like a vehicle, relationships work. We just have to put in the work, effort, and commitment to get the best results. Now, a lot of people walk around and say relationships don't work, especially when you're going through a phase in your relationship that is very stormy. Like our Mondays, our rainy Mondays. Right? Where we can easily get into the frame of mind to say, you know what, relationships doesn't work. But the truth of the matter is, you have to say to yourself more specifically and more accurately, my relationship isn't working, but relationships work. And because relationships work and my relationship isn't working, I need to now look into what isn't working or why it isn't working and make some alterations, some adjustments, and get some things fixed. Because that's why we say my vehicle isn't working, and that vehicles, we don't say vehicles don't work, because we know that a well taken care of vehicle and a vehicle that is mechanically sound would always work, and the benefits of the vehicle would always be there. The relationship is really the same. You have an asset in your possession. So don't look at your relationships as a liability, but an asset. Like a vehicle, if your relationship is not working, it's not about relationships, it's about this relationship. And it's not that this relationship is not well enough or can't get back to the point enough where it can serve you well. It's about understanding that I need to take care of it, and that is a sign that something is wrong and I need to actively fix it. But I know for a fact that because you're here, you're actively working on increasing the quality and the value of your relationship in your life. So because of that, I know that that doesn't pertain to you, but that is a perspective we really have to look at and take the moment in our lives to actually indulge in that thought process. Now, as we're continuing in the area of like a vehicle, there is all kinds of relationships. So now we are talking about a vehicle. So now there's a comparison that we're going to make between the vehicle and the relationship. That a vehicle does a lot for our lives, and all of us, whether or not we have a vehicle or not, whether or not we know how to drive or not, know that vehicles provide a great opportunity for us to be able to get from point A to point B a lot faster and have the convenience of mobility that we won't have just being on our feet. So now, like a vehicle, there are all kinds of relationships. Now, I mean, on the screen you can see that they have some Teslas, some BMWs, some Ferraris, yeah, Ford and Porsche. So now let's talk about it. The variety of vehicles depends on our preferences, whether fast, luxurious, comfortability, flashy, plain, or just what you have always envisioned. We determine what we get based on preference, affordability, and access. So it's important to really look at the fact that when we get a vehicle, there's all sorts of vehicles on the road. And depending on the preference of the owner determines what vehicle they get. As well as you have to look at affordability and also access as well. So because of that, we have to understand that when it comes to relationships, there's not only different elements of relationships, but different kinds of relationships. Now, I know we're taught about relationships in terms of there is the parental relationships, there is the business relationship, there is the intimate relationship, there is a professional relationship. There's many different kind of relationships that we have out there, but I want to let you know that as we're talking about intimate relationships, there's different kinds. And for us as individuals, we have to ask ourselves, what kind of relationship do I want? But we talk more about that in a little bit, so stay with me for a little bit. So let's ask ourselves the question now. What is the relationship you want? What is your preference? Let's go into a few different preferences as we're going to use the backdrop of a vehicle for a metaphor. Used and abused, base brand, luxurious and lovely, or fast and fierce. Now, let's go into more detail about each one of that category. Now, use and abuse in a relationship form. A relationship that no one cares in. They are just there. So if that's the relationship currently, or your relationship currently, that is where you are right now according to our spectrum, use and abuse. Don't fret, don't worry, you're not going to stay there. Now we have base brand, a relationship that is about keeping the peace and social normalities just coexisting. So right there, you guys are just coexisting in the same vicinity. You guys are together, but you guys are not really together, if you know what I mean. You guys are just keeping the peace and just going through the motions every single day. That is just base brand. Now, luxurious and lovely. A relationship that honors both spouses and provide for their needs. Not crazy and exciting, but romantically intriguing and engaging. It's not crazy and woo exciting, but it's very valuable because it's very romantic, intriguing, and engaging as well. So that's luxurious and lovely. Now, fast and fierce, a relationship that is passionate and super exciting. Every day is an adventure. I don't know about you, for me, that sounds a little exhausting, a little bit too much on the good side for me, but it is a time and place for that. But each one of these are categories. So now, let me ask the question again. What is the relationship you want? Not what you have. What is the relationship you want? And then, what is your preference? Hopefully it's the same, but if it's not, that's fine. So let's take a second or so. Write it down if you have a notepad or you have something you can write down your notes on. Let's jump into the next section. So now let's go into, what is your relationship like currently now? So I want to see the vision. Before it's the vision, let's go into now the reality, right? So what is your relationship like currently? Used and abused, base brand, luxurious and lovely, or fast and fierce? And on the screen, we do have all the meaning as it refers to the relationships. So use and abuse, a relationship that is no one cares in. A relationship that no one cares in. They are just there. Base brand, a relationship that is about keeping the peace and social normalities. Just coexisting. Luxurious and lovely, a relationship that honors both spouses and provide for their needs. Not crazy excited, but romantically intrigued and engaged. Fast and fierce, a relationship that is passionate and super exciting. Every day is an adventure. So which one is your relationship currently? Write that down next to the vision. Knowing what you want and where you are is two of the most important tools of self-awareness and you need in order to create the line of progression. Don't feel bad, disappointed, or discouraged, but be proud, excited, and happy. You have just taken the first official step in the journey to improve your relationship. What we like to call a vehicle upgrade. So the first thing you want to always analyze is, what is the vision? We discussed that before. And right now we want to look at, what is your reality? What is a vision? What is your reality? And now what we want to do is, to the best of our ability, we want to get from the reality to the vision. Now, the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. But we all know that when it comes to life, life is rarely a straight line to the vision. But regardless, if we understand where the vision is, we can do and lock into a thing called focus. And by that, we're able to navigate from there, from where we are to where we need to be. And that is a crucial and critical first step. And congratulations, guys. You guys have successfully taken the first step. Now let's continue, because we want to continue to grow and progress here. How do you start improving the quality of your relationship is the question now. See, now we are fully aware of where we want to be. We're fully aware of where we are. And for some of us, you may say, well, I'm fully aware and have been before I got here, where I want my relationship to be and where we are right now in my relationship. But my question is, how do we start to improve the quality of your relationship? I'm happy you asked, and because of that question is probably why you're at this webinar to begin with. So let's continue to rock and roll. It starts with managing the things we have control over currently. So the first thing is, stop trying to manage what you cannot manage, and start to manage what it is that you have control over. First step is, what are they? We have to take an inventory of what we do have control over. Now, what we like to have control over out of insecurities or out of just being, I would say, a controlling person, because some of us are very controlling individuals. And we don't need to deny it. I'm not here to put you on blast, but if you are, be fully aware of it and be able to distinguish between that and being realistic. What are the things that you do have control over? Until we can do an inventory of the things we have control over, which I would like for you to write down all the things you have control over. Take a moment, write them down fairly quickly. I'll give you about 30 seconds. Just write them down, and write them down. All the things that you have control over realistically. What are they? All right. If you didn't get a chance to finish writing all down, continue to write, or put a pen there and get back to it later. Let's keep rocking and rolling. Now here goes into some more crucial information. Your willingness to want to do what your part in improving your relationship. So your willingness to, there we go, that's number one. Now I know you wrote down a few things, but we're going to go into some foundational things. Your willingness to want to do your part in your improving your relationship. Yeah. How willing are you to be unbiased, compromise, and work for the betterment of the relationship? So we're talking about your willingness now. Now, one of the biggest things you have control over, if you haven't got the hint, is your willingness. And you want to always get your willingness on board first, because your willingness is really one of those secret ingredients that really give you the edge in order to be successful, or leaving you frustrated if you don't have it and always failing. So your willingness is number one that we're going to really dive into when it comes to things that you can manage, things that you have control over that you can manage accurately. So now let's ask ourselves the question truthfully. Let's be honest here. Don't make it a collective response, but make it an individual response in this one. How willing are you to be unbiased, compromise, and work for the betterment of your relationship? Write it down. How willing are you? From a scale of 1 to 10, how willing are you? 10 being that you're extremely willing, 1 being that I'm just about not willing at all. So write that down, 1 to 10, bam. All right, hopefully you got it. So in this moment, whatever it is your scale is, whatever position on the scale you're on, let's go into it together this way. Let us make a personal commitment. Here we go. The first step of commitment in this journey today. Let us make a personal commitment. I will be unbiased. I will be willing to compromise as needed. I will do the work it takes for my marriage to be successful. Now repeat this after me. Let's do it together. I will be unbiased. I will be willing to compromise as needed. I will do the work it takes for my marriage, or actually my relationship, to be successful. So for those who are not married, take out the word marriage there and actually put relationship there. So let's do it another time just to really solidify it. We have to make this commitment because nothing happens until something happens. And that's something that we need to happen is your willingness to be on board so that that commitment now can be a foundation that we can build on. Is solid enough. Anything other than your commitment is not solid enough, and everything we build will crush it. So repeat after me. I will be unbiased. I will be willing to compromise as needed. I will do the work it takes for my relationship to be successful. Congratulations, guys. Taking the second step, and that is commitment. So we want to know that we are taking the proper steps and the appropriate steps in the right order. Now we have commitment. Now I know it's easier said than done. But the truth is you have control over your commitment, over your willingness to commit. So make it a conscious decision that you will commit yourself to what we have just committed to. All right, let's jump right into it. Let's keep moving forward because we don't have all day and we have to give you all this information. Now, relationship is like a vehicle. How do you start managing your relationship? Now, the first thing we talk about is realistically managing yourself. And the first thing we want to do in a relationship is that we want to manage ourselves first. If we're not managing ourselves, whatever is managing us will be the thing that is managing the relationship. And chances are, a relationship requires two people managing themselves well in order to manage to have a manageable relationship. A lot of managing that sentence, I know. Not trying to be redundant. But overall, we manage ourselves. Now we got to this point. I know that it takes some time. Let's talk about now how can we manage our relationship. You want to understand what it takes to maintain and operate the basics before you jump into customizing it. So when it comes to a relationship, we want to understand the basics first. The fundamentals that we need to know in order for it to operate accurately and successfully. And then we can go into customizations. Just like a vehicle, like the first thing you want to do is learn how to operate the vehicle or maintain the vehicle on its basic level before you're trying to soup up the vehicle or get some customized stuff added to the vehicle. Because if you don't know how to do these basic things, no matter what kind of vehicle you get, no matter how much money you spend, no matter how much customizations you have done on that vehicle will not be successful in your life because of things that you're not doing. Same thing with our relationships. So let's go into a few of these fundamentals. So let's look at the basics for a vehicle very quickly, as that is a backdrop as we're going to relate it back into relationships. One, you have to know how to turn on the vehicle. Proper maintenance. Keep it filled with gas. Without gas, the vehicle's not going anywhere. Maintain all the air in the tires. If the tires are flat, man, mobility and drivability is going to be very difficult. Timely oil changes. Now, I know what it feels like to not change the oil in my vehicle and that vehicle turn into trash. And I've learned my lesson very, very quickly, very early on. When I was 18, my first vehicle did not change the oil because I would say and this would be a cop-out, no one told me to change the oil. But what it comes down to, I didn't find it as important enough as the things I wanted to do at the time. And I completely ruined a brand new vehicle. And I learned early on that now, maintenance is very important. It's not only about obtaining the thing, but maintaining the thing is just as important. So when you think about affordability and ability in a situation, it's not only about the cost of obtaining it, but the cost of maintaining it as well. The same with our relationship. Now, yearly inspections. Now, I know many of us will say, well, I can do without that yearly inspection. But realistically, the purpose of the yearly inspection is to be able to look over the vehicle, make sure that anything that we might have missed out of using the vehicle that is needed for the functionality of the vehicle can be now not only regulated, but that's for the government. For us, we can now become aware of it and actually take care of it. So those are some basic functions that we need to always know when it comes to owning and having a vehicle in order to properly take care of the vehicle. Now, there's more things that you can talk about, but these are the crucial 5 things when it comes to vehicles overall. Now let's look at how we relate that back into relationships, right? So relationship basics for proper functionality. Now, turning on the vehicle for us in a relationship is affection and reaction. Now for gas, effective and constructive communication. Put an ear in those tires. For a relationship is maintain attraction. Be attractive to your spouse or partner, and important as well to yourself. Now for our oil change when it comes to relationship is love language switch. Words of affirmation, quality time, physical touch, acts of service, and receiving gifts. Now, the fifth actually, inspection for us is yearly evaluation while you are away for a week together. Now, it doesn't have to be extensive. It can be simple, but this is something that we want to also put in our relationships. So these are all things that are all part of the basic properties for functionality in our relationships. So let's go right into them in depth now. Turning on the vehicle. Me being corny. Affection and reaction. Now let's talk about it. Now listen keenly as we're going into some now even more critical information when it comes to relationship basics as it pertains to functionality. Affection and reaction. Be positive. Always have a positive attitude towards your partner or spouse. So it's important to understand that you always want to have a positive attitude. Now, I know that it's difficult to upkeep it, but you always want to make sure that that is the goal and that is the precedence that you're setting. Mood sets the tone for every experience, every conversation, every embrace, every gesture, and every thought. Attitude fuels mood. So if you're always actively working on being as positive as you can be, don't be fake, but actively work on being positive, you will always add more to the relationship than you just being real. Because some people being real is just being negative and sometimes being rude. Let your real be you actively making sure that you're giving your relationship your best. I'm working on being positive. Because being positive not only helps the relationship, but it also helps you as well. Because attitude fuels mood. Let's continue. So what happens if you are in an unpleasant place? Let's talk about it, because we know we can't maintain being happy and positive all the time. I'm realistic. I know when I said it, you probably thought it. You're like, yeah, I understand that, but Andre, you can call me Dre. I just wanted to let you know that I can't maintain that. I have not met a human that can maintain positivity without being fake all the time. In fact, that makes positivity now becomes work, and we're trying to eliminate strenuous and unnecessary work. That is true. So what happens if you are in an unpleasant place? Let's talk about it. Here goes. Let me jump back for 1 second. What happens if you're in an unpleasant place? Let's talk about it now. Boom, go right into it. Now, for you and for your spouse, 1, allow them to share the moment with you. Allow your spouse to share that moment with you. If you're in an unpleasant place, some positive progressive steps you can take in a negative place. That's what we're going to talk about right now. Allow your spouse or your partner to share in the moment with you. Don't attack them because of how you feel. So how that looks is, instead of you responding to them out of your emotion, invite them in to the place you're in when it comes to your emotion. So if your interaction won't be you just basically unleashing your emotion on them, your reaction will be sharing in the moment. Like, listen, I just want to let you know I woke up on the wrong side of bed and I'm frustrated right now. I can't probably tell you exactly why, but I want to let you know that if I snap on you, that is the reason why. And if you can, go on a limb here, if you can, do whatever you can to help me get out of this rut, it would be greatly appreciated. So what you're trying to do is, by communicating, you're trying to now bring them into the place that you're in with the understanding of them helping you to get out of there and not just coexisting there together, rather than you responding to them out of the emotions you're feeling. 2, state what the cause is as you're embracing them genuinely and ask for help to get out of that place or to be comforted. We just talked about the example that I used. That you want to basically be genuine. You want to also ask for embrace. Your partner should really be the person that can embrace you when you don't feel like being embraced. And even when you don't like it, allow yourself the grace to receive it to an extent. If you're angry and about to lash out, don't. But if you're frustrated, you're hurt, and instinctively, a lot of people, myself is included, when we get to that state, we don't want to be touched, we don't want to be talked to, we just want to be left alone. But I want you to know that allow your partner to step into that space with you. Genuinely allow their embrace. Ask for help. Because when you ask for help, they can find their place in your negativity, rather than being isolated or kicked out or just attacked. And then ask also to be comforted. Because regardless of how you feel about being comforted, the fact that you know that someone cares enough to want to bring some form of help to your or aid to your situation and give you comfort, allow you psychologically and emotionally to realize that you're not alone, to psychologically and emotionally realize that you are valued, and to psychologically and emotionally remind you off the back, indirectly, subconsciously, that there's someone willing to do whatever it takes. And that always add a positive and also help you to be in a lane of being progressive in a situation. So that is a nugget that you really want to take into consideration. Now, number 2, make a point to really listen to them. Listening is very important. Listening includes making eye contact during conversations and giving your full attention to your partner. Show them you care about what they're saying and provide responses that further the conversation, or that you understand the point they're trying to make, may even bring up things or topics of high interest. So be genuinely engaging in a conversation. Make eye contact, give it your attention, and think about what they're saying, not to respond, but to understand. I want to empathize with you. I want to see things from your perspective and engage in a conversation that way. If that is the mindset as you're going into the conversation, it will make a huge difference in that communication pattern. Now, A, do you listen? As this is a question for you. Do you listen to respond? Answer yes or no. Or do you listen to understand currently? Be truthful. Do you listen to respond or listen to understand? Now, here goes what we're going to give you as an advice. Always listen to your partner to understand. It naturally makes you seek facts, reasoning, and engage because of interest. The truth is, when you seek to understand, you engage more and you acquire more information. And that helps with the point of conversations to begin with in more ways than one. So always engage in a conversation listen in the conversation to understand and not to respond. Let's continue for the sake of time. 3, be verbally affirming. That's important. Be verbally affirming. Are your words warm and encouraging, or borderline rude or discouraging? Answer yes or no. Are your words currently warm and encouraging, or borderline rude or discouraging? Now, another way we're going to answer this question. Now, answer on the behalf of your perspective of your partner fairly quickly. Each of you. Are your partner's word warm and encouraging from your perspective, or borderline rude or discouraging? I know we have our perception, but we also need to understand the perception of the person that we're intimate with. Important. So let's continue. Get into the habit of stating your love, respect, and appreciation. Get into the habit. If you do it, increase how much you do it. If you don't do it, Let's get started. We should have started yesterday. We're not here to judge. We're here to help you. That is something that you want to make sure that you unbiasedly, if you realize I don't really do that at all, then here it goes. That is a positive thing because you're seeing now something that you can implement to increase the quality of your relationship immediately. All right? It will make those truths believable to your partner and to you as well, because every time you say it, you're also reminding yourself. So it's not only for them, but it's also for you. This will automatically make those truths the foundation of your relationship. A lot of us communicate negativity way more than we communicate positivity. And the truth of the matter is, for every negative things you say, you have to have, I think, at least 7 more positive things in order to balance that negativity. So you need the 8th one in order to be not in the deficit anymore. So you want to make sure that the pattern of communication in your relationship is that you're conscious about being verbally affirming overall. So always be verbally affirming. And those positive gestures of truth will become the foundation of your relationship. And not only do you remind your partner of it because it's happening more frequently than the negative, you will also remind yourself. And if you remind yourself, guess what happens? You start to see the relationship from that light. And by that light, you start to value the relationship that way. Let's continue. Let's go into now number 2. We have to gas that relationship. And for us, that is effective and constructive communication. Now, previously, there were some ways by which, if we implement them, that would improve our communication constructively, right? But let's go into a couple different things now specifically. Listening is number 1. I want you to know that in order to be a great communicator, you have to be an even better listener. It is important to listen first and communicate and speak second. And it's important to increase your listening to increase your communication. So the value of your communication is only to the extent of how well you can listen. So listening is number 1. It's one of the most important aspects of communication. So remember that. Listen before you speak. Now, number 2, straight talk. Straight talk is important. Don't avoid or beat around the bush. Speak boldly, truthfully, and respectfully. Those 3 factors is important. That straight talk is to speak boldly. That means that you're not shy or timid to talk to your partner. You love them. And they love you too. Don't be shy and timid. Be bold. But in being bold means that you're truthful and respectful. You're not going to just say whatever you want, however you want. You want to also take in mind, I'm going to speak truth. I'm also going to be respectful. I don't want to hurt your feelings. I want to share information. All right? Let's continue to rock and roll. Now, let's talk about nonverbal communication. That is a big factor as number 3. Nonverbal communication is another big factor because 95% of what we are saying in communication is nonverbal. So let's talk about that in more depth. The way you look, listen, react, and or gesture speaks far more about feelings than words will ever be able to. I hope you gather that real quick, even though I hackered that in reading it. Let me go over it again. The way you look, listen, react, or gesture speaks far more about feelings than words will ever be able to. Because 95% of what you say comes from all those other cues as well. So how you listen, your reaction, and your gestures. Those are all part of communication, not just your words. So take that in mind and write them down. Be very mindful of how you look while doing so. So you want to listen first. There you go. That is number 1. Then in it, you want to how you react. In reacting, you want to respond. So you want to be able to listen to understand and not what? Not to respond. So you want to be like, okay, I want to get information from your perspective. I want to understand how you feel and what you went through. That's how you do it. And your gestures, you want to be like, what's that? What's that? Or as I kick the desk with a computer, making it shaky. But you want to be pleasant. Here's a few things that you want to add. Listen intently. React lovingly, gesture warmly, and speak compassionately. Let's go again. Listen intently, react warmly, react lovingly, gesture warmly, and speak compassionately. I'm going to do it for the 3rd time. For me, not for you. Bear with me. Listen intently, react lovingly, gesture warmly, and speak compassionately. So let's jump right into now stress management. I have a few little things here. Let me cancel that out. Bam. Now, number 4, stress management. That is important. Stress management. You need to manage your stress. You all know that if you're stressed out, it's hard to manage yourself. So, stress management, we really have to indulge in this a little bit more. When you're under stress, you may misunderstand the other person, send confusing nonverbal signals, or overreact. Self-care is marriage care. Or let's continue. Self-care is relationship care. Share and release your stress. Don't dump it or just toss it around like a hot potato. So self-care is relationship care. Share and release your stress. Don't dump it or just toss it around like hot potato. So you have to be mindful of how stressful you are, how stressed out you are right now, or in the situation, because you do matter. You're 50% of this right here. And you're a very valuable asset when it comes to the team of relationship that you're in. So you want to be mindful of your stress level, because your stress level is going to directly impact your ability to communicate effectively and efficiently, or constructively, as we're talking about. So be mindful of that. Some tips. I have to give you some tips. Step out and go for a walk together. So if the stress and the attention is high, whether it is from outside sources and one individual is stressed out, or in a relationship you guys are just stressed out, these tips work well. Step out and go for a walk together. Just go for a walk. Change the scenery and the environment. Sometimes changing the environment changes the tone and the feel of the situation. Break the routine and the usual events for an hour or so and go talk in a different environment. Talk, don't argue, don't be right. Don't have to be right, just talk. And sometimes you can talk about random things that occur or just come up in the moment or in the environment. Break it. All right, let's continue. If we speak and react in the heat of the moment, our words will come out as accusations or as a personal attack, not informative or constructive. And that is something to be mindful of. You don't want it to come out as an accusation or accusations or as an attack. You really want to be informative and constructive. So if you know that, okay, I'm in a heated place right now, take the moment. The moment will save you time later. I know you're a busy person. I know you don't need to deal with this argument right now. If you're making an argument, this is how it always pans out. And I know that it seems as if it's taking more time, but it's actually saving you time. Because if you react in the moment that you are in right now, if you're dealing with being extremely stressed out, what will happen is that it will create another argument, another misunderstanding, another confusing moment that typically trickles into not only that day, but into the next day, the state of the relationship. So in order to save more time, take more time in order to regulate yourself and regulate the temperature of the relationship so you can properly communicate. Truth is, we are trying to resolve things, not create a riot. That is important. Break normality and familiarity and talk together. You guys are in this together. So let's remember that. These are some seem very simple, but very highly effective tips that you want to implement. Now let's jump into air in the tires. Maintain attraction. Here we go. Be attractive not only to your partner, but to yourself as well. So you want to not only be attractive to your partner, I want to say, but you want to be attractive to yourself as well. That is important. You have to find yourself like, you know what? I believe that I am sexy and I'm a great person. I'm not talking about myself, but to refer to you. Let's take a moment. I am a beautiful, good-looking person. Repeat this to your partner. If you're in front of them right now, you are a beautiful and attractive person. There you go. Take a moment, because attraction is very important. Now you may say, well, I don't believe that, but you know what? We're going to declare it. Let's declare it over the situation. That is a goal, that is a perspective, and you don't have to believe it now, but if you know that that is the truth and that is the aim, it becomes easier now for us to get there a lot faster. Now, fill the tires. Attraction starts with you. That's number one. Attractions really start with you. Because if you think your partner is attractive and you turn around now and you don't believe you're attractive, it brings up insecurity in you. So let's talk about attraction. Attraction starts with you. Treat yourself. Make sure you are well fed. Not just your body, but your mind with healthy food. Work them both out as well and try to be active. This way, according to yourself, you will not just feel good, but look good. And most importantly, be good. So you want to make sure that you're properly taking care of yourself. Properly taking care, not only physically, but mentally as well. You are an asset and you do matter. And like I told you about earlier that my wife is big on this and she has taught me so much about it because it's fully effective, is that when you realize that you're valuable and the value you have in things, you start to not only become better at serving things, but better at serving you. And I'm not talking about arrogance and ignorance. I'm really talking about just the things that we need in our lives. And many of us, we struggle with valuing ourselves. And because of that, we struggle with almost everything else we're a part of because of the lack of self-value. Now, let's continue a little bit more. You want to be attracted to you. If you feel sexy, it is easier to be sexy and have great sex appeal to your spouse or partner. There is something sexy about confidence. So when it comes to even your intimate life, if you feel sexy, then it's easier for you to be sexy. But if you feel insecure about yourself, what happens overall is that you become very, very insecure, and it becomes highly, highly difficult for you to be sexy to your partner in the moment. And there's something about confidence that does scream attraction. All of us are attracted subconsciously, or even if we're conscious about it, to confidence. And it's easier to be confident in the intimate area when you realize that you're sexy as well. And this is talking about intimacy, obviously. So you don't walk around and tell your other people that you're sexy, but just for you to know within yourself and carry yourself in a format where you know that you're attracted to you in a healthy way. Now, 2, seek spouses or partners' personal desire and what they prefer. For example, if they prefer a certain look, try to incorporate it with your fashion, especially when they are around. Find out what your spouse or partner desires and commit to incorporating it within reason as often as possible. Now, let me ask you the question. What is your partner's desires and preferences when it comes to your look? It's important. What is your partner's desires and preference? Yeah, what is it? What is it? Now, take a moment and write down yours for a second. Take a moment as I'm itching my eye. Now, number 3, communicate emotions beyond simple or simply, I love you. That's another one. Let me jump back really quick though. Now that you've written down what you believe your partner's preference and desires are, right? And yours. I want you to always take your partner's preferences when it comes to your look and what they prefer about your physicality, and actually start to implement it with reason. Of all the people in the world that you should be accommodating, your partner is number 1. All right? So let's jump into number 3. So we want to add some more value to your relationship. Communicate emotions beyond simply I love you. Now, if you don't use I love you enough, increase the usage of it so your partner knows it. All right, but here are some ways to make sure that you can capture the moments in your relationship and not just have general responses. Now, say things like, I'm excited you're with me. I am proud of you. You are my world, and etc. This will increase intimacy. This will increase intimacy overall. Because what would happen is that you're capturing these little moments, and even though they may seem benign in the moment, when you really lock in correctly, it would take you a long, long way. So, for example, if your partner's home with you, Let them know I'm excited that you're here with me. Like, my day is just so much better because you're here. Let them know that will remind you that you have a opportunity with someone that you want to spend time with, as well as you let them know that as well. You remind yourself of their value and also remind them of their value in your life. You also remind your relationship and the moment of the value you have right then and there. Something simple as that makes a huge difference. So implement these things. Now, there's a lot more we can go into these things about, but we don't have the time today, but please write it down and continue to expand on it. And we have other areas and other platforms like our app that I'm going to briefly mention right now that has more extensive information about these things that you can actually utilize. All right. But let's continue to go into more stuff for the sake of time. Now, number 4, set aside one-on-one time always. Here we go. Date nights and date days. See, we don't always have to have date nights and date nights. We can have date days. So date days and date nights, we can have either one of them. Either way, they both can be significant, long as it's one-on-one time that is set aside. Revive the activities that helped you fall in love in the first place, but in addition to that, transition it into trying something new. So think about some of the activities that you guys love to do, especially in the earlier stages of your relationship where you guys were building companionship. And start to reincorporate those. Go out, enjoy each other's presence that way. And then on top of that, now start to introduce some new things, because we have changed over the course of the months, the weeks, and also the years, and find interest in other things or even something new that you both can try together and just incorporate those together. So something you're familiar with that has great memory and history behind it, and something new you're incorporating in order to create new experiences and continue to progress and expand your relationship. So quality time when it comes to date days or date nights, whatever your schedule accommodates, just make sure it's quality. Reliving a past mutually great experience and work into it something new will continue to add to your intimate experiences as a couple and deepen your connection, promoting growth and expanding together with the fire of what works. Because it works in the past, what happens is that it starts to create a momentum and a rhythm. And when you introduce something new, it doesn't become as awkward or as handicappish as it may seem, because when you try something new, what happens is that you have a learning curve and an awkwardness of not being familiar with it at times, and that can sometimes, if you're dealing with other things in the situation, make the moment loses its value and its intimacy. But when you lean it off of something you're familiar with that has historical success and you're familiar with it, and that transition into something new fairly quickly, you just flow right into it. You develop that momentum, and that momentum goes right into something new. And not only you create and relive a historically good experience in the moment, but you now added a new experience that you guys can both appreciate and have sentimental meaning behind it, because it's something new you guys have both done together. That is in addition to other things you guys have done. And it creates more intimacy in your relationship, builds trust, and increases happiness and fulfillment. So don't be shy about it. But let me give you a bonus though, because you want to talk about the bedroom. The bed. As that sounds weird. So guys, if you're bold enough, try this in your relationship to increase the passion in the bedroom. Tell yourself this time of having sex will be your last period. Then together approach and execute wanting to go out with a bang, incorporating how you both will want to be remembered and what you both will want to experience. So this is for you guys together. This is something you want to do. Married folks, I know this is something that I will say here. It may feel awkward me saying it to you, or it shouldn't be awkward to each other, but something like this will open up the appetite of your sexual intimacy as well as your connection with each other on a physical level. So think about it. This is the last time that you guys are going to this is the last time you guys are going to make love, right? At the end of the day, this is the last time. How would you want to be remembered? You both think about it and then together passionately create the moment and go right into it. And you'd be surprised what you guys will experience when it comes to you with each other. So go ahead, take that bonus, and do with it whatever you may. All right, let's jump into some more things. Oil change. It is oil change time. So now we're talking about love language switch. Now, our love language criteria are words of affirmation, quality time, physical touch, acts of service, and receiving gifts. Now, those are the categories to which almost all of us feel love, right? And what happens now in this love language is that through each one of these, there's a different level of feeling loved that we receive depending on our history and who we are as a person. So let's talk about it as we talk about changing oil. Now, when you change your oil, what happens is that you change your oil 2 to 3 times every year, depending on how often you drive. So when it comes to your love language switch, you want to understand your partner's love language, and your partner want to understand yours, and you want to be active in actually implementing it frequently enough so your partner can feel love, because it's important. And then you want to switch it at a time where it can become, I guess, desensitized because it's done so often, right? So let's talk about it more in depth. Find out what your partner's love language is. We talk about that. Is it words of affirmation, quality time, physical touch, acts of service, or receiving gifts? Maybe you need to take the time beyond this webinar and actually think about that. But what is your partner's love language? And if you don't know, take the time to discuss it with them. And I believe that there's a test that you can take as well. You'd have to Google it. We don't have it here right now. And be able to find out what is your love language. Maybe it's a combination of some. I mean, some people have more than one major love languages. One primary, one secondary. In fact, all of us have one primary and one secondary, and the percentages are going to be slightly different actually. Now, as we going into it a little bit more, what is yours? Typically, people have one main love language and one secondary one, right? Not limited to 2, but I'm just talking about those 2 because it's easier to really focus on those 2. It is likely that your primary love language will be connected to how love was expressed in your family growing up. Don't be surprised. Depending on your background, it will determine how you receive love. So this portion is for you to figure out your partner's love language, primary and secondary, and also figure out yours. So all of us have a connection with all these love languages. And with all these love languages, we receive love to some extent. But what happens now over the course of time is that there is ones, depending on our history and who we are as a person, that when they happen, we define that as, oh, that person loved me, in our emotional reception of it. And we want to figure that out. So figure it out for our partner so we know how to love them, and figure it out for ourselves so we know how to navigate people to show us love as well. Now let's look at this chart for a better understanding and a visual. Now, no one has the chart that is towards my left, that's closest to the picture of the lovely couple there, right? Where you have an even different distribution of how these things affect you when it comes to love language. For example, below it, the chart says word of affirmation, 20%, quality time, 20%, physical touch, 20%, acts of service, 20%, receiving gifts, 20%, like a song. That is not how it works. Typically, because it's fluid, what happens now for us is that there is a different level of percentage for each, and because of that, there is more emphasis of receiving love from whatever it is our love language, from our primary to our secondary to the rest that follows, right? So for example, on the chart to the right, the furthest away from the lovely couple in the photo, it says here, now, of words of affirmation for this person, say Sue, is 50%. That means that when you give Sue words of affirmation, it is going to far exceed the amount of love that Sue feels when it comes to the rest of the elements or categories of love expressions. So you want to know, for example, if your wife or your husband, words of affirmation is at 50%, your job is to always be mindful of saying, anytime I'm showing love to them frequently, because this should happen frequently, you want to use words of affirmation as the leading factor. Now, the secondary is quality time at 30%. Now, you see how you can combine both and get 80% there really quick? You can spend quality time using words of affirmation. Boom, 80% right there. But when you start to notice information, it becomes easier for you to show love to your partner. Because a lot of us love based on how we want to be loved, and that is not necessarily how it works. Because we want to love based on how our partner want to be loved. This way they receive the love that we're giving them, and we want to show or share with our partner how we like to be loved and love accordingly. So, to go through the chart, words of affirmation for Sue is 50% of feeling love. Quality time is 30%, physical touch is 10%, acts of service is 5%, and receiving gifts is 5%. Now, how that pertains to us when it comes to the love switch. You should slightly switch up your love expressions every 4 months or so, incorporating your partner's secondary love language. It will always keep things fresh. So it can become a little redundant and a little desensitized when you do the same thing over and over and over again. For my people who have been in a relationship for a long time that help use the phrase "I love you" over a period of time in a healthy manner, do you know how after a while, when your partner say "I love you" to you, you don't really receive it as intimately and as special as you used to, because it became desensitized. That's why we emphasize on using other means of communicating value in the moment, or value of your partners in the moment, in order to not to make it desensitize the ones that do. But when it comes to the love language now, you want to keep it consistent, but every once in a while, you want to probably make that secondary more the primary in order to switch it up a little bit, keep things fresh, and keep going. For example, Sue, her number 1 is words of affirmation. Her number 2 is quality time. So maybe the first half of the year, for example, don't have to be like this. You focus in on making sure that you practice and be attentive in making sure you're giving a lot of word of affirmation if you're Sue's husband. So words of affirmation always, that is major, and we have quality time that is coming up every once in a while. But now as they hit on the 4th month, I'm probably going to go right into way more quality time, especially when it comes to the summer seasons. So we're going to spend a lot more quality time together and more focus on quality time, and then I utilize words of affirmation as a secondary thing. Now I keep getting all these notifications. Don't mind them. So you always want to make sure that every 3 to 4 months you kind of like alter it a little bit in order to not have a redundancy in you showing your affections or sharing your love when you're using the love language. So you can always maintain that level of quality by maintaining that level of freshness. All right, that's a little nugget. Now let us continue. Now we jump into inspection. Inspection. Yearly evaluation and rejuvenation while you are away for a week together, not family vacation. I want you to understand that this is not about a family vacation. The family vacation, you're doing a lot and you're managing a lot. This right here, when it comes to inspection for the car now, one, what happens is that you take your car back for it to be inspected for a mechanic who's accredited to be able to look over the vehicle and let you know whatever is wrong with it. They won't limit the inspection to just exactly what the criteria are. They will let you know generally everything that they find as potentially a red flag, and in that what you need to fix in order to meet state regulations, but you are fully aware of what's going on with your vehicle. When it comes to our relationship, we have to always, yearly, I believe, is the perfect time. Set aside some time to get away together with just each other to be able to evaluate the relationship and rejuvenate from all the things that you have been through, learned, and had to deal with in the past year. It is important. It's not with the kids. It's not with your friends. It's not because you're going to a concert or something else. The focus is solely on each other. Now, I know many of us probably have not done that, probably have not heard of that, but it's one of those things that are essential. It doesn't have to be something huge and extravagant. It just has to be something meaningful and personable. That is the criteria. Like many great things in life, for example, food, choices, styles of clothing, perspective, and love languages, and our ongoing relationship in our marriage is constantly evolving, not fixed. As your relationship grows and evolves, your love language, your preferences, you as an individual, and your spouse or partner will all grow and evolve too. Now I'm going to reread it because I want to emphasize on that, because it's important to understand this. That change is not bad, it's inevitable. But how we navigate the change determine if it's bad or negative. You want to be able to be in a position to grow together and not grow apart. So let's talk about it. Like many great things in life, for example, food choices, styles of clothing, perspective, and love languages, our ongoing relationship in marriage or regular is constantly evolving, not fixed. As your relationship grows and evolves, your love language, your preferences, you as an individual, and your spouse or partner will all grow and evolve too. So that is just a mindset. You want to wrap your mind around it. That change is inevitable. We want to make sure that the change is serving us and not destroying us. It is important to step out of your normality together to relax, reset, and reevaluate each other and your relationship for understanding and adjusting. This will enable you both to be aware of changes and reinforcements, giving you the ability to be effective and adjust accurately. You don't want to react. You want to make the proper adjustments. And some things happen because we're so busy and we're not aware of it. And when you're dealing with two people, what happens over the course of time is that it's easy to fall off or fall away from each other and still feel successful, because in our own right, we're successful, not seeing the damage, the toll, the strain that it has on the relationship. And the change that we're experiencing, or we didn't experience a change, but our partner did, we don't really take note of the effects of it on the relationship. But when we set aside a time to go get away together and evaluate our relationship and rejuvenate and understand what is going on so we can make the proper and effective adjustments, it changes a lot. That's a big part of maintenance. The same way we do with our vehicles. Now, evolving and growing is natural and good, but it has to be done together for the relationship to grow as well. You want to grow in your relationship, not away from your relationship. We're talking about that. Set aside a time to discuss pivotal things that have happened the year prior in the relationship, good and bad. Pivotal things you both have experienced and its effect on you both as individuals and future plans. So those pivotal things, you want to make sure you set aside a time when you're on your staycation or you're on your vacation with each other. What you want to do is, one of the things you want to have is maybe a list. What are the pivotal things that happened this year or the previous year, if you did it in January and you're talking about the previous year, but the previous year in a relationship, and write it down. And then write it down individually and also collectively. And then come together and actually marry those lists. There'll probably be a few things that you both share together and see as pivotal. And there will be some things that individually that one person finds as pivotal, the other person doesn't. But all of those things are pivotal in the relationship. And it's good to be aware of them and aware of the effects that it has on you individually and your partner and the relationship. So you guys can discuss these things, come up with a game plan, put some things into place in order to set yourself for success within your relationship. All right? So hopefully you're taking all this notes. So guys, we came to an end of it. And I know it's a lot of information, but I want to go over a quick recap of everything. So I know for some of us, if we are just smarty pantses, we got it. We're like, we don't need to hear it again. But for myself and a few of us who are not as smart as you, give us the time in order to go through this fairly quickly. And remember that there's something special that we have to share with you at the end of this. So stay tuned and stay focused. Here goes a quick recap of everything we discussed. Now we talk about the fact that we're talking about the recap as it reflects on the vehicle and how we maintain a vehicle. We're going to mirror that in how we maintain the basics in the functionality of our relationships. We talk about turn on the vehicle, and that is affection and reaction. Be positive and encouraging, always listening intently. It is your words. Is your words warm and encouraging is the question we want to ask ourselves and make sure that it is. Or borderline rude or discouraging. If it is, make the changes. Now when it goes into now, fill with gas. If for us in relationships, it's effective and constructive communication. And we spoke about this little keynote things here. Listen intently, react lovingly, and gesture warmly. Speak compassionately and manage your stress. Now we go into maintain air in the tire. Now for relationships, that's maintain attraction, right? So you want to be attracted to you. Incorporate also things your partner find attractive and desirable. Now here goes a question to ponder on. What is your partner's desires and preferences? Find that out and incorporate it as much as you possibly can. Yeah. So now in a relationship, for us, our org changes love language switch. Words of affirmation, quality time, physical touch, acts of service, and receiving gifts are all the love language criterias, right? So make it very important to take this information to heart. That's number one. Choose the primary love language of your spouse or partner and adjust your expressions of love to strongly reflect it. And then every 3 to 4 months, switch between the primary and the secondary in order to maintain the quality of your love expression to your partner or your love language to your partner. Okay? Now let's jump into inspection. Now inspection for a vehicle, we know what it is, but inspection for a relationship is yearly evaluation while you are away for a week together. Not the family vacation. Emphasis, not the family vacation. Evolving and growing is natural and good, but it has to be done together for the relationship to grow as well. You want to grow in your relationship, not away from your relationship. So that is important. So those are all the pivotal points within every one of these sections in order for you to implement in your relationship, in your mindset, in your approach, and then that would improve your shaky relationship into a more solid relationship. Now, this has to be practiced and also be consistent. So commit consistently with this information and continue to evolve and grow and allow the natural changes that happen as you're implementing this information to happen to improve your relationship. And now, guys, I want to say congratulations on completing this webinar. When you apply this knowledge to your relationship, it will be transformed and it will transform it. But it is important to be consistent. Again, congratulations. We're happy. Take a moment and clap yourselves up. Pat yourselves on your back. If you're with your partner, give each other a hug right there in that moment. And let's take the moment to say we have made a solid first step. We have gathered some crucial and critical information, and it's time now for us to put it to work so we can work for us. But now we want to celebrate, but I promise you that we are sharing something that is significant, that if you are willing to wait to the end of the webinar, you will be in a position of being happy about it. Guarantee you. Now, but let's continue though. I know what you're thinking or what you're saying. This will help my relationship significantly. That is true. I understand how to maintain this vehicle as it pertains to your relationship, but how do I drive this vehicle safely and efficiently? Now that I see that my relationship is valuable and important, I want the best chance of success. What am I saying is what can save our relationship, but how can we thrive in it? So what I'm saying is we can save our relationship, but I want to thrive in my relationship. I don't want to save it. I don't want to just live in our relationship just for it to be okay or just getting by. It's about how can I thrive in it? How can we go to the next level? So for all my couples out there who say, you know what? I believe at the end of the day that we can have a great relationship. We have a good relationship, or we're struggling and we know how now to not struggle anymore if we continue to be committed consistently to the information that we have received. But not only do we want to have a good, solid relationship, but we want to have the best relationship possible. We want to go to the next level. For all my couples out there who want to go to the next level, we'll not leave you hanging, but we'll be here to stay with you. Can we share with you this opportunity that we have that can help you get there to the next level? Take a moment. Can we share it with you? Can I share some exciting news with you? Can I? I want your permission. All right, a few people say yes. Okay, I got the yes, I got the go. So let me share this with you guys. Now, we're doing a 6-week Your Fairy Tale Really Can Come True challenge. I repeat, a 6-week Your Fairy Tale really can come true challenge. Now, this challenge is for those couples who, I want to let you know, who is working hard at their relationship, who's willing to commit more to their relationship, and the ones that say, you know what, I want the fairy tale. I want to give my relationship the best chance for it to be the best it can possibly be. Because when I serve my relationship serves me. When my relationship is good, there's a great chance that my life is good as well. Well, no further ado, we're doing a challenge, a 6-week challenge. Your fairy tale can come true. So all my couples out there, let me go over the weekly schedule here. Now, week 1 is going to be Reconnect Quick Start. Week 2, Inspiration Realization. Week 3 is Pain Release, because you have to release that pain to have the passion and the compassion that we need in our relationship. Now, week 4, Transformation Station, because we need transformation to go to the next level. Week 5, the Love Train, in parentheses, love but not stuck. And then we have week 6, Passion Ignition. It is important that we ignite that passion to a whole nother level in order to transform your relationship into the fairy tale that you're looking for, a whole nother level. Now let's talk about it in more value now the value, because you want to know how much it costs and what the value is. Now, it's valued at $1,998. But today, because we want to see you thrive, we will take off 60%. Today's price, $778. So only $778. Today we're taking off 60% because we know that you guys are committed to helping your relationship and working on your relationship. So we want to make sure that it's affordable, that it doesn't break the bank. It just breaks the problems in your relationship so your relationships can go to the next level. But hold on, we have more. We have some bonuses for you. Now, bonus number 1, we have our weekly group connection calls valued at $100. Today, it will be included for free because we want to see you thrive. Now, we also have a bonus number 2. Bonus number 2 is now 2 of our self-love journals titled Believing in You Journaling. One for each of you guys, because your improvement is your marriage and relationship improvement currently. So, and it's currently sold on Amazon. Let me repeat that. Now, we have our 2 journals that we do have and we sell on Amazon. It's titled Believing in Yourself Journaling. And in this package today, we're going to give you guys not 1, but 2. 1 for each of you guys. Not 1, but 2. 1 for each of you guys, that you guys can work on self-development as well as relationship development, because self-development is actually relationship development. Because the better you are, the better the relationship is overall. And it's currently sold on Amazon for $27.99. And we're giving you 2 of those, which equals out to the value of $55.98. But for today, it is free, because we want you guys to thrive. But we're not going to stop there. We also have a bonus number 3 and a bonus number 4. Now, bonus number 3 is that we're going to have an accountability group. So you have like-minded individuals to provide support, because you know that when we are trying to cultivate and grow our relationships, that we need a pod, we need a group of like-minded individuals who know that we're working on becoming better, who can relate to some of our struggles, and also who have been or are in the same position we're in order to know that we can be supportive as well as be supported in order to go to the next level. So that is bonus number 3. Now, we also have a bonus number 4. You'd have access to our relationship VIP app. Yes, our relationship VIP app, which provides easy access to our current information. We will be a click away every single day. Now, that is valued at $600. Now, both of those things, that bonus number 3 and bonus number 4, is going to be free for you today. Also included with your package. This is a crazy deal. I wish when we're working it through our relationship issues, our rainy Mondays, and some other stuff we haven't discussed yet that you would know about once you get access to the app, that we would have had this for such a reasonable price. So it's valued at $600, but because of the fact that we know that you're hardworking, you're committed and connected to us, we want you to thrive, so we'll give you that also for free. But we're not going to stop there. We want to give you another bonus. The other bonus is we're going to give you discounted coaching and counseling packages. Now, when we do our counseling and coaching, we normally have packages so that we can make sure we can help you, because one or two times it's hard to help someone in a relationship when you talk to them one time. You really need a section or a session that has a multiple times in order to help. But we have these packages that have these sessions, and that's how we normally handle our coaching and our counseling. And that's one of the biggest reasons we have such a high success rate, is that we don't talk to you one time and leave you and say good luck. We want to make sure we walk you through every step of the way. And for this, including accountability calls as well, is valued at $2,500 to $10,000 depending on the package any given day. But today you will receive a voucher for 80% off all, not just some, all of the service that we provide. Now below you see that there's a $2,500 one, $5,000 one, $7,500 one, and also a $10,000 one. So it's valued at $2,500 to $10,000. Each one of these packages has a lot of valuable things if you want to get some one-on-one session with us. But you're getting 80% off, period. There's no expiration date. As long as you purchase the package now for the 6-week challenge, you automatically get that voucher for 80% off all of those services. Now, when it comes to all of those services and everything in total, it is a total value of $5,003.98. But today you only pay $778, which is a discount of almost 90%. So the value discount today is 90%, guys. I know that it is a crazy deal, and it might say to you might say to yourself or to your spouse, this seems too good to be true, but it is true, and it is the reality. We want you to be successful without breaking the bank, just breaking every struggle that you guys have been through and are probably going through, so that you can have the breakthrough that you guys deserve in your relationship, to not only have a okay relationship, but to go to the next level in your relationship where you're living the dream that you have dreamt for your relationship as a child. So today the value is over $5,000, but for today you are receiving it for $778, which is a 90% discount, guys. Don't miss this opportunity. Do not miss it. I don't want you to miss it. You came this far. You've worked so hard, and I want you to get to the place that you didn't even know that you can get to in your relationship. We want you to let you know that we have limited seats as well. It's a limited seat, and once it's filled, guys, that's it. I want you to know that once it's filled, that's it. And the truth is, we only have about 20 seats. I know for a fact that we can't take more than 100 applicants, period, and we could only fill about 20 seats. So please jump on it, because I know, guys, that at the end of the day, that you guys want to make your relationship the best it can possibly be. And because you're here, I know that you're invested. And because you're here, I want to let you know that we're invested as well. And we want to make sure that you get one of those 20 seats, because we only can have 20 seats simply because we want to make sure that we give as much value as possible to each couple. So to maintain the quality, there's only 20 seats, and we want to make sure that that's why we're sharing this with you right now, with you, so that you get the opportunity to be one of those 100 applicants and be one of those couples in those 20 seats as well. Now, again, the total value is $5,003.98. But today, you'll be paying only $778, which is a 90% discount, guys, a 90% discount. So this is an exclusive offer, guys. You will be kicking off the challenge on February 20th, 2023, guys. That's when we're kicking it off. Now, you might be saying that, I don't know if I can wait that long, but the truth of the matter is all good things come to those who wait. So when it comes to it, I guarantee you, we want to make sure that it is right. We have all the information put together. It is interactive, and it's going to be impactful. So February 20th, 2023 is going to be the day, guys, that we're going to kick off this challenge. And make sure you secure your seats so you don't lose it. Don't wait and lose the opportunity, but secure this opportunity for yourself and for your relationship. Now, again, the total value of $5,003.98, but today for you is going to be only $778, which is detailed a 86% discount, almost 90% off, guys. So It is a great opportunity. So guys, I just want to take this opportunity to let you guys know that you guys have made a great investment, and if you decide to go in the 6-week challenge, I want you to know that that is even a greater investment for your relationship, for your life. And I want to congratulate you that if you don't go into that program, I still want to congratulate you because you've made a great investment in your relationship, and this information that we have shared today is valuable. And if you apply it consistently, and if you commit to each other, commit to the information, I guarantee you would have the solid relationship you're looking for, and you would have great transformation in the numerous areas of your relationship. And we're always here for you. So whether or not you choose to select the 6-week challenge, I guarantee you that you have made a great investment. You will see great changes in your relationship, but still increase the quality and get the relationship you deserve by knowing that your fairy tale really can come true, and it's right before you in the 6-week challenge. But guys, again, congratulations. We are excited. We're happy for you, and we are honored that you give us this opportunity to share all this valuable information with you. And we will not take for granted everything that we have shared with you, everything you will allow us to share in the future, and to know that we are very invested in the success of your relationship. So as you continue to increase and gain successes, reach out to us and share with us. If you reach any roadblocks, please, your family now, reach out to us and we'll be more than happy to help you. Either we're going to direct you to our app that has the information, or you're going to have a one-on-one session with us where we're going to go into a customized detail experience in order to help you get to that next level, because we won't stop until you have the best relationship possible, even beyond your own expectations. So guys, congratulations again. We're happy for you, and we hope we'll see you in the 6-week challenge, or even on our chat when it comes to our app and our platforms, guys. So continue to go forward, continue to invest in your relationship, and continue to increase in your self-value and your relationship value so you can have the valuable life that you deserve. Guys, continue to rock and roll, because we're with you always. Until next time, we see you later.